You're watching it.
All right, we're live. Welcome back to this episode of Cover to Cover. Tonight we're talking Black Sabbath. I got my Black Sabbath shirt on. Back as always, my co-host, highly a comic bro.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Happy to be here.
Conquistador is back again with us tonight. This is one of his picks.
Yes, that's right.
My bro from way back, James, who was previously on the last episode.
So, James,
you guys doing?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Excellent.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm sitting there upstairs, and I'm like, wife and I are sitting at the table, and I went, "Shit! I didn't send the links." She just starts laughing at me.
But you were still good, man. You were still good. It wasn't like that last minute.
Yeah, so I'm in IT, and I was in the wrong link. So there you go.
Oh, nice.
There you go. That's why computers never work.
It's the IT guys.
I'm good with guitars, though.
Yeah.
Okay?
Awesome, man. So yeah, glad to be back. Glad to be doing this cover to cover show again.
I'm glad you're back,
Right.
Calvin.
Let's get into it.
Can I just say one thing?
Go ahead.
I've never heard this album until this week.
I'll see you guys
You being
later.
serious?
It's not Black Sabbath's most popular album. It's not like you listen to these songs on the radio, you know. It's not Paranoid or War Pigs or anything.
That is
like
true.
that.
I've never been a big Black Sabbath fan. I've never heard one of their whole albums. I know all the hits, you know, War Pigs I love, Paranoid, but I've never gotten into Black Sabbath until this week. And I've been at work and I've just had it on and on and on and on and on. It's good.
Would you say that it? I don't know. Was it worth it to you? Like not ever listening to a Black Sabbath album and then kind of diving into this one for the first time. What were your, I guess, initial thoughts?
Well, okay. I guess we're getting into it, right? I guess we're getting
compared to the songs that you have heard.
I've heard of this album, and I actually heard about this album like when I was like 13, 12, and it was during all this backmasking and the satanic talk in the 80s and all this stuff. And I remember they showed the cover, and then they showed the back of the cover, and there was all these religious people. Look, they're showing this man being possessed by the devil, and on the back he's dead, and now that the angels come and they were just going on and talking about it, and I was like, oh, yeah, all right, but that's so I remember the album cover because of those guys, but it's a classic album cover because I've seen it, you know, afterwards. But yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting listening to the whole album. It's not, and we'll get into that.
This is one of the first three albums from Black Sabbath that I listened to, even before I met James. I think I was a junior in high school, and I picked them up in a 3-pack at, I believe it was an FYE at one of our local malls, and it came with the album. I don't know why I did hop, jump, and skip, but whatever. But you listening to the first two albums, and then you listen to this album. There's a departure from those first two albums. I felt
For sure.
The writing was much more cohesive, I guess would be the term. I don't know.
Topical.
Yeah. I remember printing the lyrics out to "Killing Yourself to Live" and hanging them on my wall. My oldest sister was like, "Do we need to have a conversation?" Because she just read the title. She didn't read the lyrics. And I'm like, there's different ways you can take that, because I took it as, you're busting your ass at a job
Mhm.
just to be able to live your life.
Yeah.
But there's also, the drug aspect in that song. You're killing yourself to feel better, but
To get that high, yeah, reach some sort of
right.
feeling. Yeah.
Don,
But
how did you go about printing those lyrics out?
I went on, let me think.
Back then, it was a little different, right?
You were at a library, weren't you?
You were at a library. It was a
You were at
little.
library.
When I printed those lyrics out, I think it was 2002.
Okay, college.
So I think, what was the big lyric? Was it lyrics.com? I might have
yeah, A to Z
printed it
lyrics,
off that.
something like
I'm not
that.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking way back in my time. There wasn't computers.
Yeah, I wrote them down from the liner notes. Yeah.
I just think I aged myself.
I did used to do that though when I was a kid. I would sit and listen to the song and listen to the music and write the lyrics down.
It'd always be wrong, right? That's what mine was.
Yep.
I did that with Danzig albums. That's a mistake. That's a mistake. The wrong stuff. I always thought that this. I mean, I love the first Black Sabbath album. Love the second one. I love all of them, but this one is probably one of my least, just because I love the heaviness of like the Volume 4 or the Masters of Reality. But I think this album's that transition to that. I mean, let's listen to the title track song, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Jeez, that's a heavy song. And then you have like, National Acrobat. That's on there too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all pretty heavy, but they're not as heavy as the other ones.
Then,
I like it, but it's still more bluesy and composed, I think.
There's definitely a composition aspect of it for sure. But even then, like, you still have songs like Fluff that show up on this album too, where it's like an acoustic medley, it's a very contrasting song from the rest of the other ones.
Yeah.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I fucking hate that song.
Yeah, I did too. I hate
that song.
No, but it's like Embryo. It's like Embryo on Volume 4. I think it's a transitional song, and I like it like that. They have a lot of transitional songs that, I was all amped from this, and then chill, and then you go into like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, or something like that.
Right. There was a specific point to it.
Yeah.
There was a point to it.
When I heard it, I was like, "What is this song? Did it change to another album?" But
it's
then
fun.
it's like, what happened, right? But then I saw the name, and it's perfect, bro. Love.
Yeah.
It's perfect. I love the sarcasm, dude. I just freaking love it. The title's perfect.
Well,
they did have a knack for picking names like that, especially for the instrumentals, like Embryo or Planet Caravan. Planet Caravan's freaking ridiculous. I hate that song.
What album is Planet Caravan?
Paranoid.
Yeah, Paranoid.
That's probably my favorite Sabbath song. I freaking adore that song, dude. Love Planet.
There's a lot of good Black Sabbath songs, man.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of Sabbath songs.
Electric Funeral. This is a crazy one. Yeah. Well, we're kind of jumping the gun here, Donnie. Let the people know what album we're talking about here.
All right. This is Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. It was the 5th studio album by the group Black Sabbath. And it was released on December 1st, 1973, after having been recorded in September. Morgan Studios in London. It was released on Vertigo, and it was produced by the band, which seems a little odd, but then again, it doesn't, because you think about a lot of the groups now that don't have a producer, they produce it themselves.
But back then it was weird.
Right. It's unusual. Forgot where I was going. the group had come off of the tour to support Volume 4, and they were spent. You know, between the grind of the tour and the substance abuse and just that early 70s rock and roll lifestyle, they needed a break. On Wikipedia, they said about playing at the Hollywood Bowl and how Tony Iommi walked off stage and just collapsed. They ended up canceling the remaining dates on the tour and just basically going into seclusion. They separated. They just parted ways for a little bit to take a break from everything, including each other. And a lot of the stories that I've heard about Black Sabbath, that was definitely a requirement, taking a break from each other, because those four guys were just ridiculous.
They make good music, man.
Yes.
What's going on, Steve?
When they reconvened, let me find it. They got together and they just couldn't come up with anything. Tony had writer's block; he couldn't come up with any riffs, which is very strange for Tony. They ended up going back to the UK, and they rented Clearwell Castle in the Forest of Dean in Gloucester, England, which should be familiar to people in the music realm, because Led Zeppelin, Mott the Hoople, Deep Purple all wrote and recorded there. So this place had a history for developing a lot of the sound, especially that came out in the early 70s.
Which I think is one of the most gnarly things about this album.
Yeah.
I mean, bands did it before, but I first found out about that with this album. And to just think about, like, being in Los Angeles as a band, right? After doing this massive tour, they're coked up, right? They're struggling hard to make an album, come up with music, come up with ideas, can't come up with anything. And then they decide, hey, let's go rent out a freaking castle and practice inside there and make an album inside of this castle.
Ambiance, right?
Yeah,
Jeez.
Exactly. When I found out about that, I was blown away, and it makes a lot of sense for the backstory of the album, but also for what they produced, for this album, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. It really fit. The synergy was there, I guess you can say.
Yeah. Well, and the other minor story with the castle was the different spots that they had rehearsed, like the Armory. Ozzy and Tony were walking down the hall after rehearsing one night, and they were confronted with a black cloaked figure, and went down the hall and turned into a room. And so they followed it, and they got into the room, and there was nothing there. And they talked to locals about it, and the locals were like, "Yeah, it's haunted."
Yeah, there's a ghost.
What?
A ghost of so and so. Yeah.
That's why they rented it. Come on, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how you get those albums. They knew.
Dude, all I know is I'm not following no black figure, no black cloak figure. That's all I'm doing. I'm going the other way.
Oh, I didn't know all that. It's interesting. You guys, there's a lot of stuff I didn't know about that background. I think that's the problem with these albums, though, because when growing up, I was introduced to Black Sabbath through gas station cassette tapes. I'm dating myself here too. Every time you go to a gas station, there's some random mixtape of Black Sabbath or Ozzy, and I'd pick them up. So I had all these songs in different orders, but when I finally listened to them in some holistic fashion or even on the album, it's like, oh, this is a different experience than I grew up with, you know?
Yeah.
It's just weird to like, yeah. I'm glad I was able to listen to it in that order again. It was kind of like listening to it with New Ears, to be honest with you. It's been a while. It's always those mix, you know, greatest hits.
Yeah. They talked about they finally settled on rehearsing in the dungeons of the castle, and that was where Tony had come up with the main riff for Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. And when he brought it to the rest of the band, they looked at each other and went, "We're back." It's like, I mean, that was the epitome of a Black Sabbath riff. I mean,
Yeah.
just that.
Yeah, just a heavy rock, like bluesy influence that they said, yeah, that we were talking about earlier.
And that real heavy, gnarly orange guitar tone. You know, that's that orange sound, the orange cabinets, guitar cabinets. It's real like,
Yeah.
You're great. Yeah.
real gnarly. Yeah.
Did you, Javi? Did you read the part about them pranking each other? They were constantly pranking each other.
Yeah. It was funny. It was like we weren't the lords of darkness as much as we were the lords of chicken shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, and they said Bill Ward got the brunt of it, and it got so bad that he eventually started going to bed with a freaking dagger.
Oh my God!
What were they doing?
And it's like, I don't.
Messing with
It
each
doesn't
other.
really say. They were just
Taking the
fucking
hell
with
out
each
of
other.
or freaking each other out. Who knows what they were doing back then, right?
A castle, jeez.
Yeah, inside of a castle, right?
That must have been.
I wonder what they're caught like how do you go about that, you know? Hey, we're Black Sabbath, we want to rent out your castle for a couple months or whatever, we want to rehearse here. Like, I wonder how they actually how they go about doing that.
It's probably the only way you can do it is saying I'm Black Sabbath and I want to record an album.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, come on. Like, we're not using this castle for anything else, right?
You got a record contract, right? Well, you know what I mean? No.
It's also interesting to know that Tony Iommi was really doing the brunt of the work as far as songwriting,
Right.
coming up with the instruments, you know, the actual riffs, you know, actually coming up with the songs. And apparently he was like, you know, on a drug binge, and one of the reasons why he was, I guess, so hard on himself, which kind of is like cyclical, right? You're like hard on yourself, so you rely on these drugs to like find inspiration, but you can't find any inspiration because of the drugs. And, you know, it's kind of like the cycle that he was in.
Oh, no.
Right.
You need drugs.
Yeah.
No, of course. That's terrifying. Holy moly.
It's kind of an odd one to start with. Technical ecstasy.
Yeah, no, that's terrible. And there's some good songs on it, but geez, I mean, yeah.
At least you worked your way backwards, you know.
Yeah. You got to the good, the meat.
So Ozzy, I guess.
Yeah.
So, something. I mean, I love Dio more, but at least it's an Ozzy start.
They were, I guess, just briefly we'll talk. It was in essence for the good that came out of the album. It was kind of the segue into what Ozzy termed as the beginning of the end of the original lineup.
Yeah, not everything.
between the drug use and I guess bickering over songwriting. Geezer even pointed out he complained that Ozzy had become too reliant on him for the lyrics.
Was this?
Maybe.
I mean,
Wah, wah.
the stories that I used to hear were that they would write the music and then they just hand him the music and here
Man.
write the freaking lyrics.
Was this Ozzy's last album with Sabbath?
No.
No, there was 2 more after this.
It was never
No,
Say
3
Die.
more. Yeah, it was Sabotage, Technical Ecstasy, and then
Never Say Die.
Never Say Die.
Sabotage is good too.
Yeah, Sabotage is really good. Even though it didn't chart that high. But it's still a good album. It definitely I would say Sabotage continued
This?
what they started with this album.
Yeah.
And I would say the same thing with Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die. There's a lot of nuances in Technical Ecstasy that carried over to Never Say Die.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
they're kind of like brother sister albums.
I always listen to Sabotage and Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath together, to be honest. It's interesting that you say that.
Right.
And Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die. That's how much I'm listening to Sabbath. But yeah, you're that's a good,
Get into the cover. Let me
The cover is freaking amazing.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, yeah.
I gotta
I mean, but it goes to exactly to what you were saying earlier, Hialeah, about the whole satanic aspect of it or connotation of it.
Yeah.
yeah, but I've always found that funny because the opposite of it is really what the album's about. Ozzy was always
Yeah.
about God and salvation and stuff. Until you look at the whole picture, you're only
Yeah.
going to get the offensive part.
hmm
right.
Well, the thing is, too, I guess the front of the cover is more well known than the back.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah, because they
It's
the original CD release, I guess, didn't have the back. So that's what started all of what James was saying earlier about them talking about the. Or no, that was you, wasn't it, Raul?
Yeah, that was
Said about the cover and the demonic overtones and all that stuff.
yeah, all the religious not fanatics, but you know that they were going against the whole Satan and rock and all this, and it's corrupting the youth. But
Dungeons and Dragons is about demons and
Dragons, man, yeah.
But you can, I mean, to be honest with you, looking at it now with like after knowing the album for so long, it's like, yeah, I mean, they do, like you said, they don't have it's not like the nice picture showing the other side of the, blue and white is right next to it. So there is a sense of, yeah, I want to be outrageous by presenting this, 666 right in the middle and all these
Right.
lady. Of course, there's a sense of shock, I guess, for the era.
Of course. What's weird to me is that they chose that yellow background.
Yeah, really.
It doesn't make it's cool, and it makes it its own. But what if it was just a black?
The record's not like that, though, is it? I don't think the record's like that.
I don't.
The original vinyl, I don't think it's like an orange or darker color. Maybe I'd have to pull it up. This is the one album I don't have on LP.
Oh damn.
Yeah,
Wicked. That's
I thought I did. I went through all the stuff this afternoon. Nothing.
That's
I guess it could be more of a tinge of yellowish orange, depending on. But yeah,
It is yellow.
I think it is kind of yellow, and then maybe it might have just faded over time or something like that.
Or the gas station copies I've been watching for years or listening to.
Has anyone ever seen? Because I just saw in Really Sydney's comment. Has anyone ever seen Ozzy or Black Sabbath?
I seen Ozzy. I never saw Black.
Together, you mean?
Yeah, like live, like or not together, or just like Ozzy or any iteration of Black
I
Sabbath.
saw them at Ozfest, the first Ozfest they were playing.
Nice.
I
Damn,
saw
that must have been awesome.
I saw Ozzy for his Bark of the Moon, and Motley Crue was opening with Shout at the Devil. That was pretty fucking badass.
You know what that wasn't? Oh, you saw him for Bark at the Moon is such a good album.
Bark at the Moon, and Motley Crue was
Nice and really.
And I was wrong. I misspoke. It wasn't the first Ozfest. Black Sabbath was in Hershey the year before. That's where I saw them. They actually were together prior to this last reunion in the 2000s.
dude, it's a badass cover, dude.
It is a badass cover.
It says heavy metal, right?
It says heavy metal, but
it oozes heavy metal, dude.
So I'll say this. I'll say my take on the album that I feel like why I love this album so much is that there is a jam aspect in this album where there's songs, they were arranged songs, verse, chorus, verse, and then they were just like, fuck it, we're just gonna jam. We're just gonna come up with 3 minutes, 4 minutes of instrumental jams, and then just go from different riffs to different riffs, and then just jam on that. That to me, the album screams that too. Like the album cover screams that to me too. It's just like, let's fucking do it. We're back. So that's the backside of the cover. I've never seen the backside of the cover, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I've seen some releases where they were side by side because I think the back is just as important as the front for the message of the album.
Right.
Just like with Sabotage, and you look at them looking in a mirror or away from a mirror and all that trippiness. They have all sorts of weird stuff with that. You got to look at the LP. They used to do that kind of stuff all the time back in the day. You know?
Like when I at the beginning when I said that those religious people, they were saying, the front cover is the man being all tormented while he's dying and all this, and the devil's taking his soul, and then when he's dead, they would say, then when he's dead, that's when God came, and tried to make it better. But Donnie sent me an article on the guy who did this.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Let's hear this.
And I read that, and it was totally off what those people were saying. They were trying to make it even more demonic and more this and.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they were saying that he was being possessed, and then the devil just. What they were saying is, the front cover is he's being possessed, and the devil's taking over and taking his soul, and then when the devil's done with him, then it's God that comes and soothes it over and is the peace and all that. But the guy that drew it actually meant it this way, that if you live a bad life, the front cover is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And if you live a good life,
the back cover.
The back cover. So they were twisting it to make it even more evil. More evil than what it actually was, the meaning behind it. So I found that interesting.
What the actual message was behind it was misconstrued. Misconstrued? Whatever.
I don't know if it was misconstrued. I think they twisted it to their own to their narrative, I guess.
Yeah.
But
that was a really good article. I loved it.
It was.
That was a joy to read.
But see, oh, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say I gotta send that to you, James.
But I've always taken all of Ozzy's stuff like this. He was a very religious person. Black Sabbath they were the anti-hippie band. He kept saying,
yes,
they were all about hey, there's a reality. These people in San Francisco are putting flowers out, and we're building out of the rubble from World War II. Mm-hmm. Our sound is dreary because we live in crap. I remember seeing articles like that. It's like, oh,
yeah,
that's a little different perspective.
He was right. Birmingham.
So even Volume or Masters of Reality. I think he straight up says, God's the answer. I was like, oh, this is the satanic band everyone's talking about.
Right.
It's gorgeous though, man. It's just that blue, and then
Yeah, it's nice.
it's gorgeous.
I would like to. Yeah.
That-
This is a good one to have to
I love
own
the
on
lions.
LP.
The lions are a great touch, right?
They really are so, and like the shadow of what I assume to be some sort of like God or
Yeah.
almighty spirit or something.
So you guys want to get into the song list, the track list, or is there any more? I didn't read that article. I skimmed through it.
Dude,
As far as the album cover.
The guy did it in a week. He had no idea, you know, it was just another job to him. I think he says he got paid like $250.
Wow.
Yeah, and he didn't listen to the album until after he had already finished it.
Wow.
He was 20. What was he? 27.
27-year-old illustrator for Pacific Eye and Ear Agency in Hollywood. I don't know if that's an ad agency or what that is. When I first read that, I thought maybe he was working for like a doctor or something. I didn't know what it was.
It's gorgeous.
He said, I know it will break people's hearts, but it was just another assignment.
Yeah.
So he looked at it. It was just work to him.
Yeah.
I mean, he killed it. He still did a great job.
Right.
He says it's the work that the most people ask him about, you know?
Yeah.
Or comment or thank them for. He says Black Sabbath, they reach out to him and they've thanked him several times. It was a cool article.
It is probably their best album cover if I think about it. It's probably the nicest, deepest illustrated of any Ozzy era album.
Yeah, I agree. I love this album cover.
Yeah, nothing.
I just think it fits the album so well, you know.
Nothing.
And the name of it too.
Yeah, name. You can't beat that name, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. It's British and
metal. Right.
Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. I don't know if that's what they mean, but that's how I take it.
Yeah. I don't know any information about this album name or the song names, but yeah, it just fit. It'd be interesting to know why they kind of did that.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. It's Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, damn it.
Some sort of like that fake metal band. Oh my gosh, why can't I remember their name? Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap.
What do you mean? What do you mean fake, man?
Okay, I know. As real as I am, I got it.
Dude,
just imagine if they'd have stuck with Polka Talk Blues Band.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean fake metal band? What do you mean?
Hello, Cleveland.
Yeah, that's just it. Yeah, hello, Cleveland.
That's
bloody
awesome.
Cleveland.
Too cool.
That's such a gate. Yeah. I never saw the back album cover because that little box set that I bought, it didn't have that. It was just the song list on the back of it, and I rebought it later, and it had the back album cover. I was like, this is a whole new freaking world now.
I always looked at it as the yin and yang. I really did.
Yeah.
And that's what they were trying to convey. That sounds like what you said the article kind of said.
Yeah.
Not so clearly, but you know.
But yeah, that's basically what the guy was going for, you know, the yin and the yang.
Yeah, that was the idea. What was it originally? I forget where it said. It said it originally what they were shooting for was a lot simpler, and then he just took it a step further with doing the
both sides. Yeah, he just
both
took it
sides.
Well, I'm glad he did. Now there's validity to my argument. So, how convenient.
Oh, how convenient.
The Venetian struggles of the soul is what they said.
What?
Oh, that's too artsy. That's too artsy.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
I
I
guess
think
like
that's some philosophy or something.
I guess it means what they explained it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know what Venetian means. Anyway, we'll get into the song list. Just you couldn't ask for a better opener with the title track.
Nah, you really can.
I mean that kicks the album off beautifully.
Yeah, for sure.
I wish this was bigger. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath.
There's something about the first two songs. I mean, side A for me is my the side that I like the better.
Yeah.
But there's something about Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and National Acrobat, and then Sabracadabra as well, that there's just something. Those songs, I feel like they're so different, I guess you can say, but they're so badass. Like, I can't even find the right word to describe them except just badass. It's just like in your face kind of. They're just super jammy but super heavy at the same time, you know? Like what you were saying, like when people think of jam bands, you know, you kind of like associate like Grateful Dead and stuff like that. But like this is like heavy metal jam, you know? It's not like thrash like Metallica was doing. It was its own kind of unique thing that they were doing and bringing into these albums. Because I mean, you look at National Acrobat; it's a 6-minute song. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. They're all these three songs are pretty much 6 minutes long each. The beginning of them is really like the brunt force with the lyrics, you know, verse, chorus style of type of song, and then they just go off. They're just like, you know, we're just gonna do whatever we kind of want to right now and just jam.
Yeah, I agree with you. National Acrobat it's like the perfect song to go after Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Now,
yeah.
I really like Sabracadabra. Fluff. Yeah, it's just like embryo. I don't like slow songs. I don't listen to Black Sabbath for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it in an album format, but there's a reason why it's the greatest.
I think that's just Tony Iommi just being like, that's just Tony Iommi being like, hey, I'm gonna pick up this acoustic guitar and see what the hell I can come up with.
It's very, very good. I really like listening to it, but I don't, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I didn't expect it, bro. When it came on, I was like I said, what is this? What happened?
Vanilla Fudge.
I concur.
Jam band.
I concur.
I need to check them out. Damn.
Their version of the Supremes did it. Get out my life, why don't you, babe?
Mm-hmm.
Just with freaking organ, great. This is excellent. Anyway, we're talking about Black Sabbath. Damn you, Unrolling.
So, it's side B is good. You know, I wouldn't knock side B. Who are you? It's funny to mention how there's some like sludge metal elements.
Yeah.
Like that are thrown into you, like very, very early sludge stoner metal type of elements that are thrown into here, which it's just kind of just slow and the drums are just super heavy and the riffs are super heavy, like in Who Are You? Interesting synth sounds that are also going on throughout the album.
Who Are You kind of reminded me of a lot of the older Hawkwind too. That's kind of space rock feel with the synth.
Yeah.
And I agree completely with the slow trudgy. It's they're basically the fathers of doom metal. Bands like Sleep and High on Fire. It just I credit that more to songs like Electric Funeral than
Yeah.
Who Are You. But
Well, what was it? Who are you? What was that? Was that a synth or was that a weird guitar or bass guitar thing? Or
I'm not exactly sure.
It was mostly a synth.
Was it a synth?
Throughout the year.
I think that's my favorite song on side 2. Is Who Are You?
I think it was a synth, and then the bass backed it up, and then there was maybe a guitar part that doubled.
I didn't know. It is an interesting sound though. It's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like it's just like that drudging slow sound. Yeah.
Can I tell you guys what drove me nuts on this album?
Please.
Dude, my favorite song is Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. That's my favorite song on this album, and I
Good
agree with
choice. Solid choice.
that. And I do like I like the 3 main songs on side 1 better than side 2. But you know what drove me nuts, dude? Why when they went into such a heavy outro in Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath right at the end? I didn't want that to end. And they didn't do it long enough, and it was like, bro, that outro that they get into right at the end, they could have just gone with that for another 3 fucking minutes. It was so fucking good, and it just ended, and it was like, what? That drove me nuts, bro, because that was so heavy at the end, and they just barely touched on it.
There it is.
I like how
StreamYard chat's slow.
Yeah, I like how you were saying. One of Tony Iommi's kind of signature sounds is that sort of double or triple guitar solo tracks where he has like 3 guitar tracks that are kind of soloing over each other, and that's what's kind of going on in the end of Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath.
Dude, it's so heavy, dude. I freaking
It's
love
gnarly.
that.
Yeah.
But it's just gone too fast, dude. It's just gone too fast.
I'm pretty sure that in later live albums, I don't think in any of the Ozzy era ones, but I think in some Dio ones, they have like jam out ones, and Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath is one of them. They just jam out at the end and go into like War Pigs or something, but it is longer. I think it's live where it has the Apollos. The cover has the Apollo capsule landing.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to look into that because
I'll bring up the link or something, but it's pretty cool.
I feel like that song left something on the table, even though the song's freaking amazing. It just left something on the table with that ending.
Well, I think I was gonna say I think they used to play Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath a lot with Supernaut and one of the other one from Sabotage. I forget. Megalomania.
We Sold Our Souls. That's the order it was on We Sold Our Souls.
Yeah.
So Hialeah, your favorite song is Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. What about you, Donnie and James?
It's gonna have to be Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath for me.
The song's great, man. The song is just fucking awesome, dude.
It really is.
That's such a great song. But I really like the premise for Killing Yourself to Live. I always have. Something has always drawn me to that. And Looking for Today is just
It's really good too. Yeah.
Hell, you had the lyrics up on your wall.
Yeah.
I always thought it was a good motto too, man. I really thought the lyrics was like, don't kill yourself to live. You got to live, and that's why I always thought it was almost inspirational,
Right.
And it was more of a rock song more than a metal song, in my opinion. It's real like jammy.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking earlier about how some of the songs, particularly the ones on side B, had somewhat of a reflection of some of their contemporaries at the time. Because Looking for Today kind of puts me in mind of a Uriah Heep song. You know what I mean? Like not magical, mystical fantasy Uriah Heep, but the Uriah Heep from the first couple of records. So I don't know if they were catching influences from the other bands around them, or what, because there was a lot of great stuff coming out right around the time this came out.
You would think they would, right? They were listening to everybody. Everybody's listening to each other, especially at that time.
Yeah. Hanging out
It's-
with each other too, probably.
Yeah, it's funny because in this Wikipedia article, it actually mentions how when they were recording in the recording studio, not rehearsing in the castle, but when they took it into the recording studio, apparently Led Zeppelin, I guess they were really good friends with Led Zeppelin, with the guys from Led Zeppelin, and John Bonham wanted to do like a drum track on Supernaut, or I think that's what they were mentioning.
That would have been so much better.
That would have been so. And it actually, the Wikipedia article said that they recorded a jam session,
It was never.
but it was never released.
Yeah, it was
We
never
gotta find
released.
that. Imagine Bonham on anything with Sabbath. See, Bonham and Naomi should have been together.
Keep going up.
Yeah, it's an article. I read it too.
I think it's one, and I think it's still. If you scroll up a little bit more, it's right there at the end.
Right there.
Yeah. But Sabbath referred to play material. In the end, the two bands had an improvised jam session, which was recorded but never released.
Oh my gosh! Like I didn't know Zeppelin and Sabbath did anything. It's kind of like
Release
I always
that
thought
shit.
Sabbath was like the doofuses kind of. I liked them more, but they were more like, we're drunken metal. Pantera of the 70s.
Who Are You is the synth one, right? The song that sounds a little.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of No Quarter.
Yeah, it was a mood. Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of when I heard it. It reminded me of No Quarter, kind of.
And it also mentions how the keyboard from Yes did the synthesizer for Sabracadabra.
Is that Rick Wakeman?
I think, yeah. And he refused payment, so he said that they paid him in beer.
That's so awesome. That's what I'm talking about, man.
That's such a Wakeman thing too.
That's so badass.
Yeah.
If you scroll down there, it brought up one of my favorite covers of this song. It's from Godspeed, and Bruce Dickinson, of course.
Oh yeah,
that's a great cover. I love. Well, who doesn't love Dickinson's voice? You know.
Yeah, that whole tribute album, Nativity in Black, was
great. That was my bread and butter in high school, man. I wore that tape out.
I gotta check that out. Godspeed, nice.
But yeah, if you look, and I did put I'm pretty sure I put the links in for all these.
Look at that! So many versions of cover songs from just this album.
Dude, even Fluff got fucking remade, dude. Even Fluff.
Yeah.
Fluff got remade, dude.
Every pot has a lid.
Fluff by a Polish thrash metal band.
It's a good song. I'm not arguing. I like those songs like that. Just like what's the wrong one right before on Sabotage? I'm gonna have to look it up. Slow song in the middle of Sabotage album. I like them all. Those transitional ones. And I guess Iomi's the one who does them. You said.
Polish trash metal Irish cover band Emerald Trash.
That's crazy.
Look at the middle one, American Grindcore band under Killing Yourself to Live. I have that.
The majority of their music is like 30 seconds long.
It's garbage, but it tells you how great metal is. When your albums have 60 tracks on them, check those out. That's real garbage.
Yeah, grindcore. Man, I haven't listened to grindcore since freaking senior year, junior year.
I love grindcore. I'm a thrash metal dude. I need it to be fast.
Dude, that is crazy. What a great name.
I haven't thought of that band in years.
My wife found their CDs in our Rogue, and she's like, "Get this garbage out of here!" I'm like, it's great music. Yeah.
That's hilarious. It said that the Cardigans covered Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, and they also did a cover version of Iron Man also. But they're like a pop band, which is interesting.
Yeah, they're like
They did Kiss Me? No, right? I don't know.
oh no.
They had that one hit that made them really famous. Love me. Say that you love me.
Yeah.
Say that you leave me, need me.
Loveful. That's what it's called.
Love me. Yeah. Love
I gotta go with National Acrobat. That's my favorite song.
That's a good song too. I like that one as
It's a
well.
good song.
Dude, I freaking love that song, man.
I love the lyrics.
I love the lyrics. I actually have the lyrics pulled up here because I the part that I like, which is so, I feel like it's so powerful. It's well, I know it's hard for you to know the reason why, and I know you'll understand when it's time to die. Don't believe the life you have will be the only one.
Yep.
You have to let your body sleep to let your soul live on.
Yeah.
That's badass. That's a cool lyric.
Satanic. I remember, you know, all these like.
But it talks. It's like kind of hinting at that like religious aspect. Like you don't just live one life. You know. It's almost that like reborn. You know, you die, you're reborn into another or reincarnation.
Reincarnated.
Yeah, reincarnated into something, you know, a flower or whatever, you know.
A rock.
A rock.
Metal. No, I was reincarnated into a tube of tungsten. But see, I see that in every Ozzy album. Like I said, Masters of Reality, I think it's real heavy, the religious aspect.
Yeah.
Way more than even this album.
And that's my favorite Black Sabbath album. So
Yeah.
Masters of Reality, yeah. I gotta dive into more Black Sabbath.
I was just about to say the same thing, Javi. I need to hear more Black Sabbath.
yeah, the nice little song on Master of Reality with the Friends theme in it.
Forever. I listen to that song like weekly, man.
Yeah.
And what's the one lyric that says, "Do you want to see?" He's mocking people who don't believe in God. He goes, "Do you want to see the Pope at the end of a rope? Do you think he's a fool?"
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'll tell you the truth. I've seen the light and I've changed my ways, and I won't be alone and sad at the end of my days. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Dude, chills, man.
I mean, it's just that's Ozzy. You know, that's Ozzy. He's not doing so well. I see.
Yeah.
Goodness
No.
gracious.
Dude, how old is he, bro? Let me look it up real quick. How
Like
old is
2000,
Yeah.
isn't
I think
he?
he's 71 now, 72,
70.
71.
Tony Iommi's still alive too, right? Or no?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's weird. Like he looks like he did in the 70s. He's got some sort of magic going on.
Yeah.
You know, he just looks exactly the same.
And he
Yeah,
had lymphoma too.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah. He got diagnosed with lymphoma a couple years ago.
He must live a good life, you know.
And everybody knows, of course, everybody knows the Tony Iommi story, right? Got his fingers
Yep.
kicked off at a factory and was able to get these like prosthetics. And that's the reason
fucking
why.
day that he was quitting to focus on the band, he did this.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Can you imagine how down he was after that, dude?
That's how life works though sometimes.
Yeah, because that's the reason why they tuned down their guitars.
Yep.
The reason why they tuned down their guitars was so it could be easier to
Fundamentally
bend
changed.
and play. Exactly.
So it actually was a good thing.
What is
Yeah.
what is the standard? Like, what would be the? Do you know offhand what the tuning was for Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath?
I think they tuned to drop D, but I can look. I can maybe see.
Do you guys have you guys? Well, you guys are more into Sabbath, but have you seen their like when they first came out, how they dressed and stuff?
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? They're like straight out of disco 70s.
What the fuck, dude?
Big collar.
They went from that to all so crazy, dude.
I
So
love watching. He has
crazy.
like Ozzy has that leather coat with white streamers.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
Like a rodeo clown.
It's fucking ridiculous, bro.
It
But
really is.
look what they became. It's like they were just trying to find their way, and they found their groove, and then thank God they did. Right? That was nuts.
So they tuned down to. It says he first started tuning his guitar to D sharp and then C sharp standard. So
Oh wow, on a 6. So he is going. He is going down there.
he's going down. Yeah, a step and a half. No, way more.
I don't know. I forgot how to read music years ago.
Yeah.
That's why they make tablature now.
Yeah. No, a step and a half, right? Because he's at E, so you go down a step and then a half to C sharp. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's not gent, but
Yeah.
that's why I'm getting these 7 strings. I need more gent in my life.
Hey, what's the album, the Sabbath album that has a little skeletons killing all the people? It looks like a medieval. You guys know? Is that like a
greatest hits? That's a greatest hits.
That's the greatest hits.
You got it. That's the gas station covers there, dude.
That's a badass cover. I remember seeing that one when I was.
It's a
kid.
painting from the medieval painting, I believe.
Yeah, it is. It's freaking badass. The little devils are just killing and torturing everybody.
That shit used to scare me. Those wood
Me
carvings and
too,
stuff.
bro.
Like, I can't even look at them. Like
Me too, man. All
the kids are all like,
yeah.
I can't do it. Those pictures from 500 years ago are way scarier than shit we come up with now.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Hey, hi, Leah. To what you were saying earlier, it says here that Slash from Guns N' Roses in an interview for Guitar World in 2008, he said that the outro to Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is the heaviest shit I have ever heard in my life.
Bro, but it's too fucking short, man.
To this day, I haven't heard anything as heavy that has that much soul.
But dude, it's so short, man. They could have just gone with that shit, dude. And just keep doing that, dude. It was like,
You knew they were at a sweet spot when they were, rehearsing that.
Bro, that's what killed me with this album, dude. That end of that song, it's just, dude, now it's in the fucking groove, man. Fuck.
nope, over.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think it's songs and riffs like that that really got bands like I said before, Pantera, all those bands that had that sludgy, like just groove metal aspect to them. They got it from Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and Sabotage. That's where that was invented.
Dude,
I think, at least.
they just got that little snippet, and
Yeah, and it says
Volume 4 too.
it says that Kirk Hammett said that his favorite song is "Killing Yourself to Live."
Wow,
Nice.
I wouldn't have called that.
Kirk and I got something in common.
Well, he is the most stable person, I imagine, in that band. So pretty stable.
Yeah, you're right. I guess their bass player nowadays is.
Oh yeah, Trejo, he's good.
Yeah.
I'm talking before Trejo.
Yeah. Yeah, before
Blue now. He's holding them all together.
This is a very, very, very sidetrack. Apparently, Trejo owns a original bass guitar from Jaco Pastorius. If you guys know who Jaco is, he's like
Weather Report.
he played with Weather Report. He was the bass player of Weather Report. Yeah, very sidetrack thought right there.
Wow.
If you own a greatest hits album and don't have a vagina, you got issues. Hey, Hey, sometimes that's the only, that's sometimes where you're introduced to some of the songs,
This was before
Unrolling. I got
MP3.
lots of issues.
Yeah. I had a
way to get it.
Red Hot Chili Peppers greatest hits album.
Oh, I love that too. That's a good album though.
Yeah.
It's a good mix. That is Catholic schoolgirls rule, right?
I think so, yeah. Jeff Schultz, one love, man. Take care.
We go, Jeff.
Yeah, man. Any other thoughts on this? How well did it do?
You know what? That's a great question. I didn't.
Let me get back to it. I left that page. I believe it peaked at number 11.
Wow.
On the Billboard 200. Man. And that was its second highest chart for the band after Master Reality. After that, it was the last time that one of their albums made it that high in the charts until they released 13, when I shouldn't say all the original members, but Geezer, and when they re-recorded or recorded the new album, which sadly, due to basically politics, Bill Ward was not a part of. But
it went platinum in USA, so
yeah,
right.
That's impressive, man. Yeah, 11.
Yeah. I went the whole way through their discography, and they all the albums just gradually kept going farther and farther down the chart, and it was like, well, that shows the time. People were still listening. It's just not the younger generation.
It was the disco craze too, probably.
Yeah,
the disco and all that.
Oh yeah, that probably destroyed it.
Disco and punk.
But it for me, like, I've been listening to Sabbath since I can have memories, to be honest with you. So yesterday, I guess. No, I mean since forever. This album kind of really did seem like in the middle of them, because I listen to Dio quite a bit with Sabbath and by himself. So I just look at this as a natural kind of flow in it. And I know it's easy to say once you have all the albums out, but it really does fit well within that chart regardless, fits well within their whole like ethos of how their progression went.
Right.
Yeah, I really, it's interesting that you say that about the chart jumping. That makes sense, but it's kind of sad to hear.
Yeah, it is.
Technical ecstasy had to come out, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but charts doesn't mean shit, when Billboard doesn't mean crap.
Exactly.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't really.
It's just, I guess it does mean something in the whole recording industry aspect of things, but you look at
a lot of those albums, even though they didn't chart as high, were still gold and platinum albums.
Yeah.
So.
Oh well, yeah. There you go.
Here didn't even chart, so there's that.
Yeah.
I don't think Forbidden did either.
That's a good album too.
Yeah.
Right. Who was that? It was Tony Martin, I think. Wasn't he singing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like his voice.
The only other lead singer that has as many albums as Ozzy with the band.
Oh yeah, what was he in before? Oh my gosh, Deep Purple? No, it wasn't Deep Purple.
No, that was Ian Gillan.
Oh yeah.
What was his name?
Tony Martin.
Let me see here. There's another Tony Martin that came up that wasn't the one.
I'm gonna be this. I was not expecting this when I heard the album.
Cozy Powell's Hammer, Misha Calvin.
It looks like he wasn't in anything that I recognize. So you know,
Yeah.
that's
No.
a hell of a thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I didn't even know Cozy had a freaking side project.
None of those words I just saw made any sense. So I put the phone down.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't recognize any of these other
Never
bands.
mind.
He started with Black Sabbath,
Ah.
and then he moved on to, I guess, some other projects. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense because he's 10 years younger than all the rest of them.
Yeah.
So
I think
he came in after everybody else left, basically.
yeah.
Because if I remember right, that one album, Seventh Star, it was Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi.
Oh
So-
yeah, it was.
Really?
It says it on the album. Featuring. You're like, I made this band.
Crazy.
I
Yeah.
can't even tell you a song off of Seven Star or what is
No.
it, Eternal Idol? I think is another one. I had the
Yeah,
shirt.
Eternal. That's
Mm.
Tony Martin. That's his first album with them. It's
Ah.
Eternal Idol. It's a good album. I have it, but
It's no
It's
Sabbath,
no-
Bloody Sabbath. I'll tell you that.
nope, no
It-
Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, or
It is not.
Heaven and Hell. Absolutely not a Heaven and Hell.
That's an amazing album. Yep.
Yep.
Well, Mob Rules is on Heaven and Hell, isn't it?
Don't forget Dehumanizer.
It's crazy to think how consistent they were coming out with these albums. You know, Black Sabbath came out 1970, Paranoid 1970, Masters of Reality 1971, Volume 4 1972, and then Sabbath Bloody Sabbath 1973. So it was literally back to back, back to back, back to back, which I guess, you know, coming full circle, because we were talking about the backstory of this album, how difficult it was for them to come up with music, plus the drugs and, you know, the fame that they were having to go through.
But it's not surprising when you look at it that way because they had just done so much work.
Yeah, exactly. They were burnt out. Tony
like-
Iommi
Yeah.
was burnt out, man.
Exactly. It's no surprise they had writer's block.
Yeah.
And it's not a surprise that it was 2 years before Sabotage came out. So,
Hmm.
you know, it shows that the grind took a toll.
You know what is a surprise? That after having that writer's block, this album came out, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That's what's surprising. You thought it would have gone the other way.
Maybe we can do a Dio album next time, a Dio Black Sabbath album, because I haven't died. I know James has been mentioning how big of a, you know, you like Dio and Black Sabbath Dio. I rarely ever listen to Dio
Mhm.
Black Sabbath or Dio.
He's so operatic, though. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you remember the Tenacious D movie? How he like Black Jack? Okay, yeah, I kind of have a close. I'd say half that level of obsession with Dio. He's kind of like this mythological metal dude. And he's on the moon. We know that. He took a freaking dragon there. I saw that shit. That would be cool, man. There's so many albums too with him.
Awesome. Well, closing thoughts? Are we wrapping things up here,
Dude, I'll go first since I know I'm the least knowledgeable with Sabbath, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not what I was expecting. Like I said, I've never really gotten into Sabbath. I've heard the hits and all that, but it was a good listen. I listened to it, dude. I listened to it maybe 5 or 6 times because it's not a long album as well. Even though those songs are 6 minutes, it's only a 42-minute album. It goes by fast. But I'm gonna be looking more into the Black Sabbath. I want to listen to more. I enjoyed it. I love Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. I love the Sabracadabra. I had always heard that name, but I never knew what song it was. And then I had to actually go back and okay, which one is that one? And then okay, it's the fourth song. Okay, and then I paid more attention to it. It's a fucking kick-ass song as well, dude. I liked it. I liked it. I'm glad. It's not what I was expecting.
Nice.
I mean,
I really enjoyed listening to the album again. I listened to it 2 times, but listening to it in order, which I had not done in a long time, and getting to hear that transition or hearing it as one piece, like it was meant to be heard. You appreciate songs you wouldn't normally listen to, like I said, Fluff, or other songs like that. But in a composition, you know, I may not be expected, but at least it fits, you know, and it has that flow to it, which I like with Sabbath albums. Yeah. And this is no exception to that. Like I said, I grew up on these songs, and I love them all, but Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, the title track has to be my favorite by far. And the outro.
Yeah, kick-ass songs, badass songwriting, badass backstory to how this album was actually created, which was always something that I thought, like, I gravitated towards when I first heard this album. I first listened to this album, I was working at a Ben and Jerry's, and the person who I was working with put this album on, and he had great taste in music, like much to how, you know, Donnie, you introduced kind of Donnie to some badass music. It was almost like that. He would introduce me to all the music he introduced me to always had soul. And even though this is a heavy metal album, you can hear the passion, you can hear the driveness, the heaviness, the whole story behind it in the album. And like I said, I am a huge fan of like the jam aspect of it. So that was a huge sort of, you know, light bulb for me where I was listening to this album. And I listened to this album from front to back probably 30, 40, 50 times. Like if I'm going to listen to Black Sabbath, this is the album that I'm going to put on and listen. I can listen to this from front to back, no problem, easily.
Oh, yeah. Well, almost any Sabbath album with Ozzy, right? I'd say that with, yeah.
Yeah, so huge, super heavy metal album for me. I love this album. And the lyrics and everything that goes along with the album too is just amazing. And, you know, it's credited to Ozzy, and you know, the more like how doing this show, you start learning like Ozzy didn't really write some of the lyrics, but still, you know, him being the front man and the singer, he's definitely he deserves the credit for sure.
Dude, I love that little fact, bro. It's like he was almost like a freeloader.
Yeah.
It almost feels like I freaking love that.
And his singing wasn't really, it's kind of weird for him to be the freeloader, wouldn't you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the freeloader.
I like James, it was nice to return to this album and listen to it front to back. That's something I haven't done for quite a while, particularly with this album. I mean, I've listened to, you know, Paranoid and the first album, Master Reality, but this one I haven't revisited in quite some time. It's interesting that the whole reason I bought that little box set was because of VH1. They had it was like a documentary. What the hell was it? Icon or Legends or something like that. And I learned this story about it, and knowing comic books the way I did and hearing Iron Man for the first time in that documentary, I was like, I got to check this band out. So I had I don't know what it was. It must have been birthday money because I wasn't working yet. And I was at the mall and I was like, "Oh, perfect opportunity." It's like 3 albums. This is gold.
Do you remember how much it
Um,
was? Do you remember how much it was?
Might have been $15 for the 3 albums.
That's
Oof,
It was cheap.
that's great.
crazy. That's
Was it one of
awesome.
those value packs where it had all 3 wrapped together?
Yeah,
I
in
love
a slipcase.
They didn't have backs too. Like, it
Yeah.
was great. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Super cool.
Yeah, it was just the song, the track list on the
Yeah.
back of it. Didn't have the original back cover art. But yeah, just a phenomenal album. God, this is such a great discussion. Love it.
Sure. We're all wearing black, at least some sort of iteration of black.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my Schrodinger
All right.
shirt. Wanted dead or alive.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, I want to thank everybody who stopped by and joined in the conversation, particularly Mr. Unruly Simeon himself,
Yeah.
and Jeff Schultz, all those cats who dropped in and watched us shoot the shit about a great freaking album. If you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend it. And I also recommend a lot of the other Black Sabbath albums that we mentioned tonight. The first and second album, Black Sabbath, Paranoid, Master Reality, Sabotage, Heaven and Hell. Definitely Heaven and Hell. Heaven and Hell is just solid gold.
I'll be checking them out.
First Dio, though, album.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Straight off of Rainbow. So Dio made the rounds with a lot of the big bands at the time.
Yeah.
Working with what the hell's his name from Deep Purple?
Black? No, that's not Black.
Yeah, Richie Blackmore.
Richie
Blackmore. Oh, that crazy cat.
It seems like Dio was like
Yeah.
Ozzy was the founder and Dio was like the hired gun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is like that, isn't it?
Is the documentary that you watched on VH1, was it the one that where Dio is on there too, and he's like talking about how he created the?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a blessing too, and everyone took it bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was something his grandmother did to ward off evil spirits.
I had like an old lady.
But then this turned into like this, and he's like, "Yeah, I created that," you know.
And then Gene Simmons was like,
Gene
"No,
Simmons is over there. I did that on Love Gun. Fuck you, Gene.
Dude, I can't believe that.
Gene Simmons is a scumbag.
Dude, they're taking credit for this.
Yeah,
Gene
Dio.
Simmons.
I never heard that story. That's how I got to look into that.
oh yeah."
There's a VH1 documentary back in the 2000s. If it's, I don't know what the name of it, but you can probably YouTube it or Google it, and you'll be able to find some footage on
I gotta
it.
look that up, dude. That's fun.
I think Dio did that when he was in the band Elf.
He
The
did.
band he was in before Rainbow.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Dude, I love James. I love yours. Like, right, he was riding that dragon. He's a mythical heavy metal creature.
can you imagine him wearing like furry underwear just on a dragon screaming like,
Yeah.
you know? Anyone's gonna do
all
it.
right.
I'm done.
All right.
It's awesome.
Get out there and listen to some music. Thank you for joining us for Cover to Cover tonight. I don't know what the next album's going to be, but we'll figure it out in the meantime.
Awesome.